Hey, all 60 people who care, I'm still alive. Sorry about the lack of content. It's just been quite a couple of months for me. I don't really want to elaborate on it, but it's been a while. My motivation to do anything extracurricular has pretty much ceased. But I want to get back to this again. I know I really wasn't making any splash or headways, but I was having fun doing it, so I want to keep doing it. So I want to announce my comeback by talking about a game that's already been out for a couple of weeks, Pokemon Sun and Moon, specifically Sun, as that's the version I bought. And also tell me if this new angle is a bit off-putting for you. Rule of thirds and whatnot. It really didn't occur to me up until the lead-up to the 20th anniversary, but I really do care a lot about Pokemon. I was a Pokemon fanatic back when everyone was a Pokemon fanatic in the late 90s, and I still kept playing the games even when the popularity diminished. And even now that there was that spike thanks to Pokemon Go coming and going, I was really happy seeing a lot of people playing something that was pretty much a nerd thing. After it came and went, obviously. And now the main games of Pokemon have come out, and maybe they're going to be a bit more popular thanks to the Pokemon Go push, because these games are the best the Pokemon series has been in quite a long time. Maybe a decade? A bit of a statement, I guess, for me. It's been a while. I'm trying to get back into this thing. But I guess my overall enjoyment, factoring nostalgia and looking back on it, my favorite generation was Gen 2. I thought Gen 4 had the best gameplay and new ideas added on it. And the generation I probably liked the least would have actually sadly been Gen 6. I just didn't really feel it lived up to the building hype that Pokemon was getting. Thankfully, Pokemon Sun and Moon definitely blow the previous generation out of the water, as a lot of what they wanted to do comes more to fruition here. I'll explain in more detail, but believe me when I say that Pokemon has never been better. Since probably Gen 4 and 5. Should go back also saying that I think Gen 5 had the best story so far. Let me start talking about this proper with the one thing I actually don't like from Gen 7, and that's the Battle Royale. It's arbitrary, it's tedious, it's nonsensical, it's a whole bunch of other adjectives that just equal to it not being fun. I haven't done it since he had to do it in the story, and I can't imagine anybody else doing it. Another thing that I'm really two minds about, first off, the SOS battles. What replaces the rather annoying horde encounters from the previous generation are SOS battles. Instead of facing like 5 Pokemon at once, however, you will start fighting a wild Pokemon if you don't kill it outright. What are you doing here? You're in the video now. If you don't kill the Pokemon outright, then it'll call for help. Sometimes it won't work, but other times it will have a second Pokemon come up. Apparently these type of battles increase your EV stats, but hey, 20 years in this thing and I don't know jack shit about EVs, aside from the Pokemon EV. It's a lame joke. That is a rug. That rug cost money. And presumably when you're training to fight stronger Pokemons, or stronger trials, I guess, SOS battles are kind of nice. The problem is when you want to catch the Pokemon, it's the same problem. You can't aim the Pokeball when there's more than one Pokemon. Bullshit. I can throw something at one thing when there's more than one thing at it. It's really arbitrary that you can't just capture one. I guess it probably has something to do with the fact that you capture a Pokemon, it ends the battle, but there's no reason the battle can't really continue. There's got to be a way to program around that. So when you're like me and you're past the game and you want to catch some Pokemon, it's really annoying to false swipe a Pokemon down to 1 health, have it call something else and have to kill that and then catch the Pokemon, and maybe it'll call another one to help. Hopefully that one won't show up, but if it does, you have to kill that new Pokemon, or if it's at a higher level, you probably want to catch that one in lieu of the other one. It's just, it gets annoying. I understand them wanting to help raise EVs and all of that, but it gets really annoying. And while editing this thing, I realized I completely forgot to talk about Z-Crystals! While I am sort of happy that there's something very similar to Mega Evolution that every single Pokemon can use, for me it kind of destroys the point of other held items in general, because why the hell would you not want your Pokemon to hold a Z-Crystal? I guess there's some strategic value of whether or not you can have, like, say, your Incineroar holding a Black Glasses or a Charcoal, aside from the one-time use Insanium. But to me, the Z moves are so powerful and so cool that why would you want to use anything else? So I'm of two minds of those things. I'm sure people who are much smarter than me and much more strategic thinking can think of better ways to use them and balance them out. But now that negativity is out of the way, I gotta tell you that everything else about the game is absolutely freaking fantastic. Those are the only real qualms I have about this thing. Like, the battles are still fun. All the new Pokemon look great. I don't have any problem with any of the new Pokemon designs. I know when they introduced fairy types, a lot of people were very critical of some of the new fairy Pokemon just not looking all that great, but every single Pokemon they've introduced now, I don't think I have a problem with any of them. Okay, the Anchor one's kind of weird looking, but other than that, I got no real problem with any of them. There's a rail gun flying beetle. That's badass. And the new mechanics, the stuff I completely ignored in Gen 6, the Pokemonomy and Wonder Trading, they've integrated it much better, and I'm doing it more often now. Having the care option happen after battles is so brilliant. And why they haven't done that previously, I don't know. It just seems like it would have been an obvious addition in Gen 6. And probably the best addition to gameplay is the end of HMs. Thank you, God. Those have been horrible since the first game. I don't think I'm breaking any new ground by saying everybody's hated HMs. Sure, having ride Pokemon and having them not in your Pokedex, even though they sort of belong to you, doesn't really make any sense, but what do I care? No more HMs! And if the rumors are true that a Sinnoh remake is coming to the Switch, please let that carry over. Screw HMs! I don't want to see that shit anymore! But above all that, the one thing that absolutely destroys Gen 6, that Gen 7 does perfectly well, is the story and characters. Everything is done perfectly. Even characters you think it'll get annoying, like how they grow on you completely. I mean, the story is basically the same. You arrive in a new location and you decide to take on the gym challenge. Only there's no gyms anymore, it's the trials. And while they're basically still the same as gyms, the way it's more incorporating the natural elements of this location, Alola, that's really brilliant. I don't know if, like, Gen 8 will still continue the thing, but we'll see, won't we? But aside from that, all the new characters have great designs as well, to go along with the great new designs of Pokemon. The story is... I don't really want to spoil it, but from the get-go, and you see that cutscene before the title splash, you know you're in for a much different game, and following that character and their growth and their evolution is just as rewarding as going all across Alola and sightseeing. When I got done with Pokemon X, I was like, well, okay, now what? Guess I just gotta wait for Oris to come out. I kind of want to box all of my Pokemon and do it again, because that was a lot of fun. And I still got a couple more weeks until they update the Pokemon Bank, so I could do it again. I'm not gonna, because I don't think I have time, but I would if I did. I loved going on this journey. I love meeting these new characters that some may start kind of annoying, but man, do they grow on you. Oh, and I can't not talk about Team Skull. I love Team Skull. They're hilarious. Making these supposedly new villainous group a bunch of joking jackasses. It's a brilliant move, and not spoiler warning, but you'll know who the real villains are from the get-go, and that was kind of a brilliant move. Good writing in a Pokemon game. It's been like years since that, really. I mean, there were hints of that they were getting better as writers with the Delta episode, but I still had problems with that in Oris. But now the writing, I think it's even stronger than Black and White, which I thought had a really good story. One could argue that it's not your story, and that's also the thing here in Gen 7, Pokemon Sun Moon, but it's still a good story. And this is probably the first Pokemon game where I've teared up a bit at the end. I wasn't full on bawling like I did in Twilight Princess, but whew, never expected to be emotionally moved by a Pokemon game. Usually those are other RPGs. So to sum it up, I think Pokemon Sun and Moon is the most fun I've had in a Pokemon game since the early days. And I think that's more of a success than having a flash-in-the-pan phone app. I mean, Pokemon Go was fun, and maybe someday it'll No, it won't. It won't ever get that popular again. But well, that's the end of that review. I don't know if there's anything I forgot to talk about that, but I did miss a lot in the months of that. I saw Doctor Strange. That was really good. I did see Ghostbusters. That was really awful. There's the Spider-Man and Guardians trailers. Those were really good. So was that Wonder Woman. I don't know if I talked about the Wonder Woman trailer. But that was really good too. I'm going to try to keep this channel going. Even if I never get more than 60 people watching, I just like doing it. I like talking about stuff. And for those of you who, that have subscribed, thank you for your support. I will hopefully be making more videos as time goes on. For the end of the year, I'll probably talk about the movies I saw, my favorite music albums this year. I'd only really reviewed one album this year, Dream Theater's Astonishing. But it's really tough to really talk about albums, actually, if you're not doing a list. But I think I've kept this video on long enough. I'm back. I'll keep making videos, and I thank everyone who watches, and I'll be seeing you all around. Thank you very much.